Hi, my name is Teresa Jurgens, and welcome to episode 40 of the Innovation Process book. We are covering chapter 21, Cautions for Lean Product Development. This is the last chapter in part 4 of Lean New Product Development Process. As always, in all these episodes, I like to remind you that you can get a copy of the Innovation Process book by scanning that QR code and get the book at Amazon. I recommend the paperback because there are so many figures, it's just easier to reference. And then we do have a course starting on October 15th, 2025, if you want to scan the other QR code and register for that course starting again October 15th at 6 weeks. We take 1 week covering waterfall and stage gate, 1 week covering agile and scrum, 2 weeks on Wagile product development, and 2 weeks on lean new product development. We spend the time customizing these processes to meet the needs of your organization. So register now and join us for an in-depth course on innovation process management. Chapter 21, Cautions for Lean New Product Development. Hybrid project management processes for new product development require deep evaluation of corporate objectives. Starting with a staged and gated new product development process is a logical choice for most companies, most firms, since it introduces rigor into a system that might have been previously ad hoc. Managers are typically familiar with waterfall processes for project management of construction projects, so the adoption in the new product development space is easy. However, one of the most widely voiced criticisms of staged and gated new product development processes, see Chapter 6, is that the system becomes overly bureaucratic and results in delayed time to market. Jumping to a full agile process is not possible for many reasons, see Chapter 11. So we recommend transition to either Wagile product development in part 3 or lean new product development, part 4. While lean new product development offers many advantages, there are still several areas for caution when implementing lean new product development to manage new product development efforts. Figure 21-1 shows the organizational risk factors for lean product development, followed by some of the most common threats to success of lean product development. Replacing gates with workshops. A common detriment to any project management process is that it becomes bureaucratic and that the system drives a process instead of vice versa. In Chapter 11, we discussed how agile processes can devolve to excessive planning with few actionable results and outcomes. While lean new product development does not involve gate reviews or extensive planning sessions, some organizations attempt to replace these bureaucratic tools with the collaborative lean workshops. Lean new product development workshops are designed as active working sessions in which the appropriate team members lend voice to decisions. Tie-breaking decisions are made by the chief engineer, who is responsible for the profit or loss of the new product. Workshops are not intended to be management reviews, and only working papers are prepared for the sessions. Lengthy presentations and approval documents are not value added and considered waste in lean new product development. In our experience, many firms backslide to using lean product development workshops as replacements for gate and management reviews. One potential client mapped their heavyweight staged and gated process to suggested lean product development workshops. Next, they translated a highly detailed project schedule to each workshop, indicating milestones and deliverables. In order to ensure management oversight of each project, activities between workshops were designated on department checklists, with an old-style project manager holding weekly meetings to verify tasks were completed. Though the company voiced a desire to transition to a hybrid project management process, they instead kept all the waste and bureaucracy of their waterfall process, including excessive documentation, with archived meeting notes and rigid schedules. Time to market remains stubbornly high and greater than the firm's more agile competitors. Lean workshops essentially replace the gate reviews, but at a higher cost. Lean product development is meant to be a fluid process to manage an individual project. The company described above made the mistake of assuming workshops were equivalent to gate reviews and sought approval from management at each major and minor step. Another error was that the company assumed a singular path for every new product project. Lean product development should create a separate schedule for each new product development effort, recognizing that each project is unique. This is one of the reasons that product and process optimization is extremely important and that design parameters are frozen as late as possible. Teams that are too big. Effective teams are small enough to make decisions and to act on those decisions. Typically, the core product development team should number less than a dozen qualified members acting as general specialists. The team should represent all necessary functions to accomplish the work of the project. Transition between similar functions, as shown in the working team grid of Figure 13-3, is often required during a lean new product development project. Yet every core project team member retains knowledge of the new product development effort and may supervise functional subteams. Holding the Lean New Product Development Workshop invitation list to a dozen participants or so can be extremely challenging for many organizations. Keep in mind that the workshops are working sessions. Inviting the most knowledgeable subject matter experts to address key project decisions and issues is critical. However, the manager of SMEs or other executives should not be included. Management is kept abreast of the project through the dashboard, Kanban board, or Scrum board, and via the exception management process if a constraint is threatened. In one lean new product development implementation we worked, the organization had a very strong culture of meetings. Rather than managers talking one-on-one to their staff, they attended meetings with their direct reports. On one hand, this made scheduling project meetings almost impossible, while at the same time making decisions completely impossible. As indicated above, the lean product development workshops began to replace regular meetings, but quickly became as ineffective as previous. The VP of product development did not want to hurt anyone's feelings, so invited the core lean product development team to each workshop, along with each of their managers. Subject matter experts, including finance, who was not represented on the core team, were also invited to participate in workshops along with their managers. But because so many people were invited to the lean product development workshops, scheduling was extremely challenging. For one-day workshops were compressed then to single 4-hour block. Unfortunately, the company also had an extraordinarily liberal work from home policy. The project manager for the NPD effort lived in a different city and the manufacturing plant was in another location. The VP determined, against all of our advice, that a virtual workshop would work fine because the teams had previously held all their meetings and gate reviews virtually anyway. As expected, the first lean product development workshop was a disaster. In one example, a marketing person was queried for specific product data on the competition. Due to the large number of people in attendance, she had not participated in the session up to this point in time. After an excruciatingly long silence, the workshop participants moved on to another topic. The virtual meeting chat finally showed the marketing representative had rejoined the meeting. She was unable to answer the questions because she was walking her dog at the time. Virtual meetings have a purpose. However, decision-making is best done in person, and lean product development workshops require close collaboration among functions. As discussed in Chapter 5, new product development is risky and necessitates emotional trust. The behavior of the marketing representative described above is unfortunately not unique for virtual meeting participants who spend much of their time disengaged. Because there were so many people at the meeting, she probably assumed her absence would not be noticed. It is unknown whether her manager noted her absence and disengagement, even though her manager also attended the session and was equally unable to respond to basic queries. People attending lean product development workshops must be focused on the topic at hand. Distractions such as walking the dog or even separate business issues delivered as text messages or email will impede the team's progress. Proper preparation is expected as well. Each participant should be briefed on their role prior to the workshop and they should bring appropriate data to the session. For instance, the finance representative should bring enough data to the market requirements workshop so that a draft business case can be developed. Of course, this also means that inbound marketing brings critical information. It is a best practice for the program manager to manage the invitations for the lean product development workshops. Program managers work hand in hand with the chief engineer, setting objectives for each workshop and understanding the scope of decisions required for the project to advance. This knowledge may necessitate splitting workshops into more than one session in order to keep the attendance low enough that actions and decisions are clear. Every lean product development workshop participant has a voice and must provide expected data for that session. Otherwise, the workshops become additional bottlenecks and wastes for product development. Discounting the role of the chief engineer. The role of the chief engineer is often misunderstood. Many companies relegate the title of chief engineer to a lead technical expert. In lean product development, the chief engineer is the business owner of the new product project. Specifically, the chief engineer is responsible for all decisions within the project constraints and is responsible for profit and loss of the product once launched. In the example above, there was no chief engineer role assigned. The VP of product development assumed that the role of chief engineer was not properly trained when we first encountered the company. Profitability was considered owned by the marketing function when not walking their dogs, but was reported through manufacturing. Giving authority for decision making to a chief engineer removes these ambiguities since a single role is responsible for profitability. Further, the chief engineer has authority for trade-off decisions. Chief engineers are experienced in many different disciplines, and they will consult functional managers for especially tricky decisions. For instance, a chief engineer was positive that a certain piece of equipment would enhance the speed of manufacturing for the new product. The lead manufacturing representative provided cost and throughput data to the chief engineer, who remained unconvinced. However, upon further consultation with the manufacturing team and their management, the chief engineer yielded the trade-off decision and no longer insisted on the new equipment. Patience for transformation. Implementing a lean product development process requires organizational change and patience. Teams that are used to excessive oversight and little trust need to adapt to working within project constraints while taking responsibility for project decisions. Reward systems must shift from individual to team performance, and the change manager must be absolutely relentless in eliminating bureaucratic waste. Transforming from a heavyweight staged and gated process to a lean system may take a couple of years for widespread organizational acceptance. Switching from a meeting culture and management approvals for even trivial items to a collaborative network of trade-off decisions is difficult for many firms. We recommend extensive communication of the lean philosophy, including simple examples of reducing waste to properly implement lean product development. The change manager should work with HR to adjust titles, roles, and reward systems as necessary. Companies train everyone in the organization for teamwork, facilitating workshops, and business practices to establish new communication and working practices. Pushing decision-making to the team is a game changer for lean new product development as compared to traditional waterfall processes. The change leader must be well-versed in lean before attempting to transform the rest of the organization. Using simplified value stream mapping to identify areas of opportunity in the new product development process is a good starting point. As a caution, be sure to select a flexible, well-respected change manager for lean product development implementation. In one firm, we encountered the wrong person in charge of the lean product development transformation and requested a new partner. The company had hired an annuitant on a temporary basis to lead the lean new product development transformation. On the surface, this appeared to be a good decision since someone retired from the firm would understand product categories, technologies, and culture. However, he had actually retired as VP of product development several years earlier after the crowning victory of implementing their very bureaucratic staged and gated process. Cultural change is important for its a successful lean product development process implementation. In the example above, the annuitant demonstrated a lack of trust for team members to make decisions, asking that every comment or sticky note be tagged with the requester's name during workshops. Such a level of detail derails open conversation and collaboration, reinforcing a lack of trust. Replacing this individual with an experienced change manager was a wise move. Unfortunately, a portion of the annuitant's distrust was deserved. The company had hired a new CEO after a significant merger. The new CEO fired all the people in executive positions, replacing them with colleagues from the CEO's prior work experiences. These new people did not understand the brands or technologies. As the restructuring continued to lower levels, there were no functions with a deep bench. Finance was understaffed and could not construct adequate business cases for new products. The entire marketing department consisted of new college graduates, led by someone from a different division. In this case, not only was the wrong person in charge, but the organization was incapable of managing a transformation. They were bleeding money and falling behind competitors. However, lean product development is not a flavor of the month practice and is not a bandage for a gaping wound. Patience for the transformation is needed to introduce new concepts of waste, and success involves appointing flexible leaders with training in hybrid project management methods. Components for successful lean product development. Figure 17.2 showed the properties of a lean organization. Focusing on these components introduces success for a lean product development transformation. Recognizing the pitfalls of excessive bureaucracy, replacing gates with workshops, and putting the wrong people in charge can help to make adoption of a hybrid waterfall agile product process smoother. For all new product development processes, you must focus on engaging customers, eliminating waste, empowering work teams, and improving performance. So thank you for looking at this episode. We've got one episode left. Just in chapter 22, we'll cover the summary of the entire book. But in the meantime, feel free to get your copy of the Innovation Process book, scanning that QR code to take you to Amazon. And again, we have the course starting on October 15th, 2025 to customize the new product development processes for your organization. Thanks, and we'll see you next time.